put on the field and perform.
Yo, I know what you're here for. Let's get to that sports talk, baby. And we got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of breaking news here and there. Coaches, NFL honors, Super Bowl MVPs. What we gonna start with today, Vance?
All right, so we are going to start with today the NFL honors. Let's jump into this.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
we've got the MVP candidates. I don't think anyone's going to be
NFL
shocked by
honors.
these. Let's pull this up here. NFL honors. Lamar Jackson. Let's go
Lamar
NFL
Jackson.
awards here. Lamar Jackson is up for MVP. Here's the MVP, guys. MVP is Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott, your boy's in there a little bit too. Brock Purdy, don't forget your boy.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. Those are the five.
Don't forget your boys. Dak Prescott, 4,516 yards, the most TDs in the league. He has a shot at it, but I don't want to see him picked. If I see
He's
this
not
guy
gonna win
pick, he's not going to win it. Thank you. Let's just put it out there. He's not going to win it.
I'm gonna let God know right now. No. So my thing is, we both know who I want to win it. He has the most touchdowns, the most yards, but he's not going to win it. So Lamar's going to win it. Second MVP.
Lamar's going to win it. But remember, it's a regular season MVP. The record that says a lot for your team. And with Lamar out last year and then missing the playoffs and stuff like that, it got a little different with him out there. But as in a regular season player, let's not think about the playoffs. He was balling in the playoffs in the second half against the Texans and stuff. But
for me, I look at it like Josh Allen led the league in touchdowns and yards. Okay, the turnover thing, miss me with that. That's BS. This man led the league in if he led the league in turnovers, he also led the league in touchdowns. Let's be fair here. And I know you're not one that like holds him only to his turnovers, because yes, he does turn the ball over. I know anyone that watches football knows that. He also leads the league in yards and touchdowns. He's not going to win it.
That's what I'm saying. Josh Allen.
He's been second twice. This is going to be his third time probably getting second.
Yeah. Josh Allen. He's a dog. He should really be in the conversation about how they end up losing in the playoffs and how they started off the season rough. But that's the thing.
I think for him the most important, the thing for me that's most important is they were 6-6. They won 5 in a row. Who had to do with that? The quarterback?
Yeah. It had a lot to do with the quarterback, but also the losing had a lot to do with the quarterback too. So it's kind of, you could go either way with that. They start off bad, fair. Take some losses, and then they take the losses because he's throwing the interceptions. He's not taking care of the ball, and then he starts taking care of the ball. They start running the ball more. Remember, James Cook, he wasn't running the ball really well in the first half of the season. Then they start giving them more carries, and Josh Allen giving him more carries in the playoffs and in the regular season on the back half. And that's how they won a lot of games, is running the football. They didn't know they could do that.
I thought about this yesterday. The point that you made in the last podcast you did, it kind of, for me, it put a lot of things in perspective when you mentioned that the Bills need him to be Superman so much that he can't be Clark Kent at all. I think that's a really good point, because I feel like, just from like I rewatched some of his highlights this year, they need that dude to be Superman or they can't win the game.
Yeah.
Like they need to make he needs to be Clark Kent more. Not that he's not elite, but he can't be Superman every game.
He can't be Superman every game. That's the thing. Once he's Superman, that's when they start winning, and that's why he could be the most valuable on this list. But I don't know how
Superman
these players get it over Lamar.
Yeah, but when he becomes Superman, what does he also do? Turn the ball over.
Turns the ball over, and that's why they had the first half of the season look like that. And that's why I cannot give him MVP. Brock Purdy, for some reason, and there's a lot of reasons here, there's a lot of reasons there, and it's just a back and forth narrative against him. It's because he's Mr. Irrelevant. People just don't believe him because he's Mr. Irrelevant. That's it.
Let me ask you a question. I know you believe in him, and you and me are kind of the outliers here. Let me ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
Perspective is a beautiful thing. Do you think if he's a first
Really?
round pick, is he the MVP this year?
1,000%.
Thank you.
1,000%. He
Thank
would at
you.
least be. He'd be at least at Josh Allen, bro. If he's to pick top 10, there's more. Right now, it's just people just don't believe in the Mr. Irrelevant quarterback. That's why they talk about his weapons and stuff like that. But he's efficient in the system he's running. They're winning games, and without a great quarterback, because say any quarterback can come into that. Not every quarterback can come into that situation and turn it around. Look at Josh Johnson when he came in the Eagles game against the Eagles. He didn't do that well. You can't put any quarterback in.
This is my thing. You've mentioned it when we were on our radio show. You mentioned it, and I'm gonna repeat your words because I think you said it so eloquently. You said, and I quote, "If anyone could do it, anyone would do it." And what he meant by that is, if anyone could be a Niner quarterback, they would be. I love Jimmy G. He knows I love Jimmy G. Jimmy G's not as good as Brock Purdy. He still
did some things though, but he's not good as Brock Purdy. Yes,
he's not as good as Brock. I love Jimmy G. He's not. Brock Purdy's better than him. I like Trey Lance.
It's not like we can't see no talent there. People are making it seem like we're not seeing any type of talent out of Brock Purdy, and it's disgraceful. So other than that, he would be top 3 if he got top. If he got picked top 10.
Everyone's like, "Oh, we're only good because of McCaffrey." Okay, he's offensive player of the year. I get that, but they also had him before they had McCaffrey. I know he didn't play before McCaffrey, but that's not his fault.
Yeah. I mean, it was a point in the season where he did lose his weapons and he started losing football games. But come on, bro, not every quarterback can go into a situation and win. Look at Jimmy G when he went to the Raiders. They had Waller. Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, who led the league in rushing yards last season.
Benched.
Like, not every person can go into a situation with. Look at the coach they just fired, and Jim Harbaugh just came. We're gonna talk about him in a second. That coach didn't do well with all the talent he had. Not every situation is a good situation because you got great pieces. You got to enforce that.
I think another thing you always say, and it's grown on me, is elite quarterback and elite talent are very different. What I mean is, like Jimmy G, elite talent, not elite quarterback. And that's coming from me, and I love Jimmy G. Josh Allen is kind of iffy for me because he can be an elite talent. There's no doubt he's an elite talent. If you watch football, that man is an elite talent. Elite quarterback, probably. Exactly. Some games he looks like he's never seen a football field before, and I love the guy, but I love Josh Allen. But some games you're like, what are you doing?
Exactly. So we're going to stay in this boat of NFL honors, and let's talk about the defensive player of the years. Who you got? Myles Garrett.
I was going to do offense, but we can go defense. So we got the defense is – we can go defense. We'll go defense and offense. So DeRon Bland is 1. Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and TJ Watt.
Exactly. And really only
go ahead.
Only TJ Watt and Myles Garrett should be sitting at the top of this list. That's just me.
I think TJ would.
I don't want to be a Cowboys hater. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know.
But Bland started to get burnt on the back half of the season, even though he had the record and the picks and stuff like that. If he was more locked down than what he is, then maybe boom.
If he was locked down, they would have beat Green Bay.
Yeah, if he was locked, but they DB core started to get really burnt.
That's my thing.
Left.
Again, I don't like the Cowboys either, but we have to tell it like it is. If he was locked down, they beat Green Bay.
Exactly. And this is another thing. We get in this playoff game with Green Bay, and I'm gonna give it to the fans after I say this. Micah Parsons, where were you at in that game? You supposed to be defensive player of the year? No, TJ Watt would have got a sack in the game. He would have got a pressure in the game. Myles Garrett would have got a sack in the game or a pressure. Aaron Donald's going to get a sack or pressure at least.
I look at it like this. TJ probably wins this if he doesn't get hurt. If he doesn't get hurt, he probably wins it. Myles Garrett, to me, is my pick. I don't know about you. I pick Myles Garrett.
I mean, he got hurt in the playoffs. But I don't know if TJ – I don't remember TJ Watt getting hurt in the regular season. But
he did get hurt. But I read about this today. I didn't know this. The votes were in January 8th. So
yeah, they were in before the playoffs, right?
So I'll go with Miles, but again, I've been called nuts for this. I want to ask you, do you think there's a Cowboy bias? Because there's two Cowboys in here. There's Deron Bland and Micah Parsons. If Micah wins it, his numbers aren't as good as Myles Garrett. But if he wins it, they're going to say Cowboy bias.
We got to look at because really what the MVP voting is about the regular season, and the Cowboys finished off with 11-5. So they're going to put some players from those type of teams with high records like that, and it's America's team, so we got to put somebody in there from the Cowboys, and we got to talk about the Cowboys all the time on social media.
Max Crosby led the league, or TJ Watt led the league in sacks with 19. Max Crosby was second with 14.5. TJ Watt, yes, he led the league, but he didn't play every game. But that is still ridiculous. 19 sacks. That's ridiculous.
So you got led the league Miles, and you were hurt. Like, come on, bro. TJ's getting
for me, do you think the writers will hold that against him though? Him being hurt. Do you think the writers will hold that against him?
I don't know. I think the writers will look at that as like I would be looking at that. How were you hurt and you still led the league in sacks? You're the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, by 4.5.
That's what I said. By 4 sacks. Like, nah. Let's just imagine if he wasn't hurt. What?
22 probably.
Like, come on, bro. Yeah.
So offensive player of the years. Here we go.
Yep. Offensive player of the year.
Tyreek Hill. Lamar Jackson. CeeDee Lamb. CMC. Dak Prescott.
I'm gonna let you start now. I'm gonna give you mine. I'm gonna let you.
I'm gonna go.
I know who you're going with.
I'm gonna go with the man who won the Writers Association Player of the Year. Give me C-Mac, baby. Christian McCaffrey. The new
C-Mac, that's your boy.
Hey.
That's your
boy. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. The new 23. The new 23.
The new 23.
For me, he's offensive player of the year. Because we've talked about this.
Offensive player of the year.
Before you go, we've talked about this. Patrick Mahomes won MVP last year. Jay Jettis won Offensive Player of the Year. So, for me, a non-quarterback can win it. We've seen that. I think Christian McCaffrey wins it. I think he was the best player in football this year. I don't know why he's not getting more love in the MVP vote, but it is what it is.
And we got another Cowboy on this list. We got another Cowboy on this list, even though he did do his thing this season. CeeDee Lamb did do his thing this season. He improved to a number 1 wide receiver, which we didn't think he was going to be after Amari Cooper left. I thought it was too early to move to him with the 88 on his back. That's a lot of pressure on him Michael Irvin wore that number. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You wearing 88, you got to come out the gate and ball. So they put a lot of pressure on him and he backed it up. That's why he's in this list. So shout out to respect to that. And CMC, he's the baller. Leads the league rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, almost over 600, almost 600 yards and receiving yards. So we're talking about over 2,000 yards from the ground and receiving and 14 touchdowns. Offensive player of the year, he's definitely the outright favorite. And
who do you got?
I got Tyreek Hill, baby. I gotta go to Cheetah.
That's not a bad. Cheetah. I think for me, if he gets the 2,000 yard season, that the first one ever, I think if he does that, and not only is he offensive player of the year, I think he's MVP. If he does that, he didn't do that. If he did that, I think he's
why
MVP.
I got the flat out Cheetah. I got the flat out Cheetah.
Best guy in football.
It's like what I said with TJ Watt. If he wasn't injured in one game, he might have had the record. The man was going for 200 and something yards in one game.
Yeah, I'll be fair here. I've said, I think if he does not get hurt, I think he's MVP.
You're right. So
am I not like I'm not nuts for that.
C-Mac is the favorite. C-Mac is the favorite, but Tyreek Hill could make you it could be scary right there. I think they said they did it on January 8th. I think Tyreek's injury was before that date, and so maybe they put that against him. I don't think it's like a TJ Watt situation with the sacks, but I think they put the injury against Tyreek since he didn't get the record. If he would have got the record,
or maybe if they beat Buffalo.
Yeah, we talking about MVP for Tyreek Hill, and he was the favorite for a little while.
He
It was
was.
like 2 weeks with Tyreek Hill at the top of the MVP list. So and
This is
CMC
yes.
had some point at the top of the list too. So that can go either way, man.
I think another thing is this is not me hating. I feel like CeeDee Lamb, you said it, and this is again the Cowboys are America's team, so they're going to get the most love. For me, I don't think CeeDee Lamb should be offensive. Even he's not even the best. Like you could argue he's the best player on his own team, but Dak's on here. Last time I checked, Dak's throwing him the football, not the other way around.
Yeah, you're right. And Dak, like he said in the podium, he was going to be more efficient. He was going to throw for a lot of yards, and he was going to limit his touchdown. So he did improve this season, and he will get an extension. I don't know if it's with the Cowboys, but I think it will probably be with somewhere else. I don't know how Jerry, like he said, crying at the podium. I don't know how he brung back this core, but he's going to run it over again, and he's going to try to expect different results. And I think they end up with the same results from this year. And Dak Prescott will finally be out of there at one point, and McCarthy will be out in retirement at one point. That's all I'm saying.
We got two more. So we got offensive rookie of the year and offensive defensive rookie of the year. Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions, Sam Laporta of the Detroit Lions, Puka Nacua of the Los Angeles Rams, Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons, and CJ Stroud of the Texans. I'll let you take this one first.
There's only 2 people on this list, and you already know what I'm going to say, Vance. Puka and Stroud. Puka and Stroud. That's it. The rest of the guys get great. Seeing what you did in the playoffs. Laporta, you got your touchdowns. You're playing with a great quarterback in Jared Goff. But the way that Puka came in rookie season was looking great. He looked like a Devontae Adams right off the bat.
He did.
Not Devontae Adams, because remember, Devontae Adams had to develop. We're talking about Devontae Adams right off the bat. But Matthew Stafford, like you said,
and he's only going to get better.
With Dak Prescott,
he's
the one throwing the football. Matthew Stafford. And you know how he feeds guys. So he's getting
Calvin
a bunch of
Johnson, Cooper Kupp.
Remember, Cooper Kupp, he was out for a little bit. He still won't 100% this season. They almost pulled off a win in the playoffs against the Lions. But like I said, there's 2 guys on this list. Puka, Stroud MVP talks almost throughout the season. Still wins a playoff game. Team record was 3-13 last season. I mean, how better can you get at that at the quarterback position after losing Deshaun Watson, after losing coach after coach, and your team is just looking dysfunctional?
This award for me is why I wish there was something kind of like baseball where there's 2 MVPs, because if I could, I would do AFC and NFC. Puka and Stroud absolutely both deserve it. I'm with you. I think Stroud wins. I think you think Puka. I think Stroud wins, or did you say Stroud?
I think Stroud wins it.
I think Stroud wins it too.
Stroud wins.
If I could do AFC and NFC like they do in baseball, they do AL and NL, I would give it to both of them because both of them absolutely deserve it. They're ridiculous. I look at it like this: those 2 are probably the 2 that the other 3 are just lucky to be there. And that's no slight at those guys; they're great. But CJ Stroud and Puka Nacua,
great players.
They separated themselves.
Puka Nacua, CJ, like I said, this year, I think the MVP voting it's been kind of interesting because Patrick Mahomes outright MVP, Lamar Jackson, he probably the outright MVP, but all of the awards are usually like straightforward, straight on. But this year you can have somebody steal one and you be like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
And then defensive player of the year,
rookie of the year,
Will Anderson of the Texans, Jalen Carter of the Eagles. I know you know who he is. Joey Porter Jr. of the Steelers, Kobe Turner of the Rams, and Devin Witherspoon of the Seahawks.
Devin Witherspoon was a dog to start off the year.
He was.
Still a dog, consistent throughout the year.
It's funny because he was a dog against every team in my division except my team.
Yeah. So he was snatching interceptions left and right, and he was covering the field like crazy. So interception after interception for this guy. He could cover the field, and he was consistent all season. I think I'll give it to my guy Witherspoon. Jalen Carter, what a year he had at the defensive tackle position. Man, that Will Anderson, we know what he could do off the edge. but somewhat he got to develop. Not everything is speed. That's why TJ Watt sits at 19. He got the speed, but you got to know the moves. You got to know, you know what I'm saying? You could be Micah Parsons can get shut down. It's not all about speed. We see that in the playoffs. You got to know some moves. You got to do some spin moves in there. You got to get some jiggling going on when you get around that corner of the edges. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna give it. I'll go same guy.
Big one from Jalen Carter.
I'll go Devin Witherspoon as well. Next one is gonna be pretty easy. I'll just read them all, but we probably know who's gonna win it. Comeback player: Flacco, DeMar Hamlin, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Tua Tagovailoa. I think we know who's gonna win it.
We know who's gonna win it, but let's argue about it. Let's argue about it. Joe Flacco here. Joe Flacco here. He did what he did coming off the bench, coming off the couch. He got dismissed by ESPN or news reporters and stuff like that. He was sitting on the couch and they say, "Hey, Joe, come and get up for me and try to do something for me this season." And he turns the whole season around. We're not even thinking they go into the playoffs. Yeah. We think they're out of this thing completely, and they end up playing in the playoff game. If he didn't play that bad in that playoff game, throwing 2 pick sixes and making that thing look kind of bad, he probably wins it. I'm sorry, Joe Flacco probably wins that thing if he wins the game.
Over, I know it's a touchy subject. Okay. Over a guy who collapsed on the field.
He collapsed on the field, but we talking about comeback player of the year, yeah. But
yeah,
I think stats wise and stuff like that comes with the award like that. Let's not just give it to the man and just be soft on the man. You know what I'm saying?
We both know from the NFL's history they're going to give it to him. We both know that.
I don't want to feel sorry for the guy. You know what I'm saying? The man came back. It's a great story. Not other than that, like all prayers up to him making that comeback. We love to see that. We love to see something like that in the NFL. Yep. And thank God that he got up that day because we didn't know if he was going to get up that day. That was the most shocking scene I've seen ever in my life on television. But let's not just feel sorry for the guy.
I agree with you.
Actually think about
I agree with you, but knowing the NFL, they're going to give it to him.
Yeah, they might give it to him, but I think this guy is Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield wins this one. Now, I'm going to give you my argument real fast. He goes in there. He beats the Eagles. We thinking the Eagles earlier in the season might have had a Super Bowl run again, but they end up flopping the season in the second half. Even though they played bad on the second half of the season, you still going against the Eagles in the playoffs. They still have a top team. They still have Devontae Smith. Even though some guys were injured, you still got that team with Jalen Hurts. Baker Mayfield comes out there and wins the playoff game and almost beats the Lions in the second playoff game. So I think Baker Mayfield gets it.
All right, one more, and then we'll head to the Harbaugh news. And then we got to go here. Coach of the year, Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh, DeMeco Ryans, my man Kyle Shanahan, or Kevin Stefanski. I feel like DeMeco should. Here's what I'll say: DeMeco should win it. Dan Campbell probably will win it.
You got Dan. I got DeMeco, man. 3 and 3. Remember,
I think DeMeco should. I'm with you. I think DeMeco should win it. I think Dan will win it. DeMeco should, though.
I think me. I love that coach. I like Dan Campbell. Buddy, which guy? Dan Campbell. He gets his team from winning a division game, first time ever, getting them in the NFC Championship game, first time ever, and they're about to get them to the Super Bowl in this game, maybe against the 49ers, first time ever, and could win them their first time ever Super Bowl. So Dan Campbell, he did grow. He did grow as a coach. So bad season to a good season, we can see that as a comeback player of the year. Kevin Stefanski, what he did with his job with the Browns and bringing in Joe Flacco and them not winning the playoff game, but getting to the playoffs when we thought what's going to happen.
Yeah,
he should definitely have a say. So I think any of these guys can really get it. It's a hard conversation.
This is actually one of the hardest ones.
I give it to DeMeco.
Okay,
that's one of the hardest ones.
That's a hard one because any of these guys could win it. I agree with you 100%.
Any of these guys could win it.
So the Jim Harbaugh news. Here we go. I'll start with this because I have a lot to say.
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh. I think we've said it was just a matter of time. This is the best job he could take. You got the quarterback, you got the running back, you got the receivers, you got the defense. I mean, this was a job.
It definitely wasn't surprising.
No, because I feel like I was talking to a family member of mine, and I said, and I'm an Ohio State fan. I said, if you're him, wouldn't you want to try and win it? I said, like, wouldn't you want to stay in college? A family member of mine said, well, what more does he need to do? He's won a championship.
You remember, I said that in the podcast. Remember, I said that to you.
Yeah, I said to my dad, though, my dad's like, well, he's won college championship. Why not go win Super Bowl? I said, well, that's a good point, but the Super Bowl, it's more prestigious, but you're not always guaranteed that. And if you recruit the best,
that's what I'm saying. This not because remember, college football is a whole different level than the NFL grown man football. This ain't saying, oh yeah, y'all can get a coach and now y'all just won the Super Bowl. Look at Josh Allen. Look at the Bills and Josh Allen. They haven't won a Super Bowl, and they're supposed to win a Super Bowl. Look at the Ravens. Look at the Bengals. Look at these teams who have good offenses, who have great coaches.
Yeah,
exactly. And Harbaugh hasn't won a Super Bowl in a while. So this is not to say you just getting thrown back in here and you're just automatically in the Super Bowl. I think he would do a better job.
I just think this was his best option. This was his best option.
Yeah. That definitely was his best option. I think this is a great move for the LA Chargers. You got talent. You now have the culture and the head coach. He's been to a Super Bowl with the 49ers and your team, and he has experience in winning big games like the national championship. So I'll give it up to Harbaugh. And now he has a quarterback. He JJ McCarthy, great quarterback. I think JJ McCarthy and Herbert have the same type of game of football, if you ask me. So he gets his quarterback just like JJ. He has his talent in the receivers. Eckler's still a baller there. Who knows? These guys could see this.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams.
Maybe he will.
I think another thing with Jim Harbaugh is not even just Jim Harbaugh. Think about that division now. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, and then Antonio Pierce. Like that, 3 of those 4 coaches, exactly. Good Lord. 3 of those 4 have either made or won a Super Bowl.
Exactly. And Antonio Pierce, he could be great. He could be a better coach than what he's already been. And this is the reason why he got the head coaching job, because what his job he done when he got into the head coaching job for the Raiders. So he might turn this team around and might have a Dan Campbell type of season. Let's see if he could do something like that. So all these coaches, great coaches in this division, but Jim Harbaugh, he's the one that stands out. I think
Andy Reid's the one. I think Andy stands out.
Andy stands out, but Jim Harbaugh, he's that like that dark horse on the back. He looking over your shoulder.
I will admit, Jim Harbaugh is a guy. Yeah, I will admit, Jim Harbaugh is a guy. If I'm a player, I want to play for that guy.
Exactly.
He brings energy.
And they might get some more time.
Energy and fun and like the vibes. Like if I'm an NFL guy, I want to play for Jim Harbaugh, the guy on the screen. Even though he went to Michigan and I don't like that, that's fine. If I'm an NFL guy, I want to play for that guy.
And this is another thing before we go here. I think it's a sad situation on how it's always on to the next thing. Yes, you got your next vision on what's going on the next thing. But I feel like this guy didn't even get a chance to sit down before he could have somewhat of a nice little vacation with the national championship. You say me, I feel like this was a fast move.
Because I think we all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, we knew it was. I mean, he's accomplished everything in college football, so I don't blame him moving on. But he's had good success here. He's beloved in Michigan. This is when you're beloved. That means you can have you can coach as long as you want here, almost as long as you want here.
Yeah,
just like Bill Belichick.
A family member of mine is from Detroit, and she goes, I guarantee you, Harbaugh won't have to ever pay for a drink in Ann Arbor again. I'm like, probably.
Yeah, he won't. But we loving these nominees. See who you got as the MVP. See who you got as Defensive Player of the Year. Who deserves these trophies? If you got a little sneak dark horse there, somebody you think should win it, but we don't got them in the radar, put it down in the comments. moving on to the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship this weekend. You'll see me and your boy Vance there. Hit that subscribe button for us, and I thank you. God bless, baby.
God bless.